In a sleepy Atlanta enclave, a horror story unfolds.
There should be more blood.
We're talking about 13 bullets through a person's body.
A tireless detective.
Victim had to know the killer.
My goal is to take somebody off the streets that doesn't need to be on the streets.
Must uncover clues.
It's like his body just fell out of the sky.
In a puzzling murder mystery.
He was starting with zero.
I am under the impression that he was set up.
I feel like you're holding something back from me.
I'm not.
Uncovering the truth
I noticed this on the night that it happened.
leads to an unexpected twist.
Was the victim living a double life?
Who had your car?
My boyfriend had my car.
She was lying.
They're trying to hide something, and what better than to hide than the crime of murder?
And a killer with nothing to lose.
He threatens to kill her if she doesn't follow the script. Dude is Satan. We spent... We're out here on Campbellton Road in Southwest Atlanta. It's a bustling epicenter, the part of Southwest Atlanta where everyone meets.
It's a great place to raise a family. But like any other neighborhood, it's got a dark side.
It was on this sleepy section of roadway back in 2015 when police caught a case you hate to get as a homicide detective. It was a straight-up whodunit murder mystery.
On December 22nd, 2015, a concerned citizen calls 911 about a person shot dead in the middle of the street. Police, when they arrive, they find this victim laying face down in the middle of the road in a puddle of rainwater that had accumulated. So this is very odd.
Detective Howard Griffin, a.k.a. Griff, is up in the rotation.
I'm probably about maybe 10 minutes away from home. Then I get a phone call from my supervisor.
What's the address?
Unfortunately, because of the way things happen, Griff has to turn around now, head back to work.
I'm on my way.
Griff just knocked out an 8-hour shift, and his day just begun for the second time.
I know a lot of times people say they've always wanted to be the police or always wanted to be a detective. That was not my story. I'm from Rochester, New York. Graduated from high school in 1998. Made my way to Clark Atlanta University and just ended up staying. I loved it. What ultimately drew me into homicide was the loss of my friend Darian Grantham. He also went to college with me from Rochester, New York, and he was shot and killed in the city of Atlanta. So it was kind of life-changing, and I wanted to become a homicide detective.
Some detectives come to homicide for the glory. Griff was there to bring closure to these families.
We worked with Griff back in the day. He was in the unit less than a year when he caught this case.
It was dark, pitch black. It wasn't well lit. What lights up the street are all the police cars. I see the young man laying in the street. I don't see anything else. I don't see any other cars. I don't see any people waiting to talk to the police.
Any witnesses?
No, sir. This young man was wearing a black jacket with the hood. When I got close, that's when I realized he had one sneaker on, one sneaker off.
Can you canvass the neighborhood and see if you can find his shoe?
10-4, sir.
The medical examiner shows up to inspect the body.
Detective?
And when they turn the victim over, they can see he's got multiple gunshots.
I saw a defect on his head, one of his forearms, a thigh. I mean, excuse the language, but it was overkill.
I count at least 10 wounds.
So as a detective, you gotta ask yourself a question. I mean, why so many shots? Is this situation personal?
Victim had to know the killer.
This person, whoever they are, that's the devil. Griff's gonna probably have to end up going to hell to find this person.
Strange. There should be more blood.
There was just the blood that was near the victim, and it wasn't a lot, and that gave me the impression that he probably wasn't killed here.
We find shell casings?
No. Maybe the killer used a revolver.
I don't think so.
The amount of injuries that I saw, I realized it's not a revolver. So either one, somebody picked up the shell casings. Two, we just missed the shell casings. or 3, he was not killed here, but he was actually placed here.
It's like he fell out of the sky or car.
Is our crime scene on wheels or is it up in some house somewhere?
I didn't have much to go on. This young man did not have an ID. What he had in his pocket was a set of keys and maybe $20 worth of currency.
No shoe and no cameras.
There's no Ring doorbell cameras, there's no cameras affixed to houses, and there's literally nobody on the street.
I had to take a walk.
This is something where Griff has himself up against it. The clock is ticking and he's got no clues.
When I start walking, canvassing, if you will, that's when I see a sneaker at another intersection away from my victim. So that's when I realize that sneaker probably belongs on my victim.
There was no blood by the shoe that was found a block away.
So one of 2 things happened. Either my victim is running, or somebody maybe threw a sneaker out and then maybe pushed him out of the car.
Get this off to get tested.
Yes, sir.
There's no cameras. There's no witnesses. So right now, identifying this victim in the middle of the road is crucial for Detective Griffin.
Griff.
What's up, my guy?
Vinny, what's up, brother?
We met with Griff to learn how he moved this investigation forward. This is a pretty challenging case. What's going through your head, man? Like, what's your plan? What's next?
One, I gotta figure out who he is. I didn't know what I was gonna do, and out the blue, I get a phone call from the medical examiner's office. And then that's when they tell us our victim is 22-year-old Elijah Wallace.
Ooh, wow.
And this young man's mom, she was an involved parent. So she started calling around, started calling hospitals, and eventually that led to her calling the medical examiner's office, and she had to identify her son.
So, now we know he's been shot. Autopsy reveals what?
So the medical examiner informed me that this young man was shot at least 13 times.
Wow, 13 times.
Was this brother in the streets at all? Did he have a criminal history?
He had nothing. And that's what was so strange about this. Somebody who doesn't have any interactions with the police, why was he killed so violently? I did a little background check on him. Then I realized that this young man used to live in the neighborhood that I raised my family in.
Oh, wow.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I mean, I got married 300 feet away from his house. So
This is your neighbor, man. This is your neighbor that got killed.
this young man actually is the same age as my oldest son, and they went to the same high school. They didn't know each other, but, it hits a little different.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the next thing, of course, I learned from brothers like you. Now I have to go speak to his mom.
Griff meets with Elijah's mother.
Thank you for meeting with me.
Just find who did this.
She put her heart on hold, like she put it on the table. And she's like, I'm business. I want to find out what happened to my son.
Why don't you tell me about your son?
Well, he was taking a semester off from school.
I didn't find anything negative or alarming. It just seemed like he was a young man who went to college and just trying to figure out life.
Everybody liked Elijah.
He was a good kid, squeaky clean. But somebody wanted Elijah dead so badly that they shot him 13 times.
It just doesn't make any sense.
When's the last time you saw your son?
Around 9:30 that night.
Me knowing that we got dispatched to the location at 12:47, that's helpful because it helps me with my timeline.
He was going to a kickback.
Now, a kickback is a small gathering, just some close-knit friends doing video games, playing cards. Nothing too big or too outrageous.
Do we know who was there?
I'll make you a list.
She identified one particular friend, a guy named Ronald Edo, who actually picked Elijah up to take him to the kickback. This was important information.
Ronald would know a lot.
Ronald Edo, she mentioned he was probably the closest to Elijah. They spent a lot of time together. I think they grew up together. So I felt like it was important to go talk to him first.
This case is about to take Detective Griffin down a rabbit hole.
I count at least 10 wounds.
Detective Howard Griffin is working the murder of 22-year-old Elijah Wallace, found dumped in the middle of the street in Southwest Atlanta.
He went to a kickback?
Elijah's mother provides Griff with his first potential lead.
She wanted us to talk to a friend of her son's named Ronald Edo.
Ronald, he'll know a lot.
Ronald could put Griff in the right direction of finding out where he was right before he was shot.
Griff contacts Ronald to set up an interview.
Not too far from where Mom lived, there was a Waffle House. I called Ronald, asked if he'd meet me there.
See you soon.
We would meet our witnesses in the parking lots of gas stations, and especially Waffle House, because it's a place that everybody knows. So Griff learned that trick from me and Quinn.
Hell, in Atlanta, I mean, people go to Waffle House after church and after the strip club. It's just that place.
Why don't you tell me about the kickback?
It was over on Astor Avenue.
That is 15 minutes away from the crime scene.
According to Ronald Edo, nothing is really significant at the kickback other than people just having a good time.
Elijah did leave at 11:45, and then something strange happened.
So what Ronald Edo goes on to tell Detective Griffin was a blockbuster. He says at about 11:55 p.m., while this victim Elijah is not inside the house anymore at the kickback, he hears at least 3 gunshots.
I ran out the party, but Elijah was nowhere to be seen.
Detective Griffin got the call at 12:47 a.m. That's less than 1 hour. That's phenomenal. Griff is moving in the right direction to determine exactly what happened to this victim.
When Elijah left the party, he wasn't alone?
No.
He was outside with another one of their mutual friends. His name was Matthew Hart.
Well, that's like tagging one witness inside the house, giving the baton to the witness outside the house. Griff has to talk to Matthew ASAP.
Hey, this is Detective Griffin.
I meet him in the same place that I met Ronald.
You were with Elijah at the kickback.
Yeah.
This is huge for Griff.
What do you remember?
Matthew tells him that Elijah was actually on the phone a lot, talking to some person. Brief conversation, hanging up, then another brief conversation, hanging up.
He says that Elijah was supposed to meet somebody from college, from Vidalia.
Vidalia, Georgia. That's the home of the Vidalia Sweet Onion. It's world-renowned. That's about 100 and some miles outside of Atlanta.
Around midnight, Elijah went outside.
He says that he remembers a car pulling up. It was a gray Nissan Sentra, so he's very specific with the color and the make and model.
That's huge. While he doesn't have a tag, that is a serious jumping off spot. We know now our crime scene probably has wheels on it.
Who was he with?
I guess the dude from Vidalia.
He said that there was 2 people in the front seat. And when Elijah got in, he got in the back seat and kind of slid over behind the passenger.
Right now, Griff has to figure out who's driving that gray Nissan Sentra and who else is in the car that Elijah got into.
Do you remember anything else?
Elijah had a backpack.
We did not find a book bag on scene, so this is the first time that I'm hearing about a book bag.
Do you know what was in the backpack?
Elijah said he'd be right back, but I never saw him again.
By the time the car got to the end of the street, he said he heard what sounded like gunshots from inside of that vehicle.
And you didn't call the cops that night?
No.
Why?
Don't know.
Right now, Matthew is stinking.
I feel like you're holding something back from me.
I'm not.
Griff's got put a microscope up Matthew right now.
Describe the guys in the car.
Black. I don't know.
I'm starting to question Matthew to see if he's involved in any way, shape, or form, and if he actually knew these people and what his relationship is with these people.
I don't know them. I swear.
You're free to go.
Matthew's not off the hook as far as Griff is concerned. He's got to put Matthew at the top of the suspects list.
Griff decides to circle back to Elijah's mother.
Could Matthew have been involved?
Yeah, it's possible. Or someone from his school.
She kept alluding to it could have been somebody down from college, but she also had the same impression about Matthew that I did.
Does Elijah know any people in Vidalia?
I don't know. But hey, I want to show you something.
She actually showed me the cell phone records.
I noticed these on the night that it happened.
She kept seeing the same number called about 5 times from about 9:30 to about 11:30.
Looks like a 912 exchange.
That 912 area code is from that Vidalia area. That's something that had my attention.
Without question, that mysterious caller, that's gonna be Griff's killer.
This is gonna help a lot.
Good, thank you.
I mean, go ahead and pin a detective badge on Mom because she made a play up in this case that help lead to who these people are. Griff needed to know who that number belonged to. He sent a subpoena off to the phone company and crossed his fingers that he'd be able to get the subscriber info quickly.
While he waited for the records to come back, he had to keep working to try to figure out what happened. He issued a bolo or be on the lookout for the possible suspect vehicle, the gray Nissan Sentra. And it didn't take long for him to get a hit.
I get a phone call. It's a GBI investigator. And he said that he had found a vehicle. He immediately says that he was part of an arson investigation down in Montgomery County.
It's the Vidalia area.
Yeah.
This has to be the suspect vehicle involved in a homicide.
He says there was a fire that was started. They were able to put the fire out and looked like there was blood in the backseat.
You need to see it.
Elijah got in his car. It was torched somewhere down in Vidalia, Georgia. It all makes sense.
It's time for Griff to go to Vidalia.
Detective Griffin.
Atlanta homicide detective Howard Griffin may have just caught a hot lead in the Elijah Wallace murder case.
It's the Vidalia area.
Yeah.
The vehicle matching the description of the suspect's car is actually involved in an active arson investigation.
Arson?
This can't be a coincidence. The car looks the same as described. It's got blood in it. And most importantly, it's found in Vidalia, Georgia, where we know some of these suspects may be from.
You need to see it.
Everything that Griff is doing now is leading him back to Vidalia. His investigation has taken shape and form down in Onion Country.
That's where the answers lie. Griff drives 180 miles to rural Montgomery County, Georgia, to check out the vehicle. When Griff finally makes it to where this car is located, meets with the GBI, he learns all hope is not lost.
I would have thought this would look way worse than this.
The evidence is preserved perfectly.
Maybe if they'd done a better job. You see, the fire was started inside.
When I asked how it was possible that all these items were preserved, how it was explained to me is the vehicle windows were all rolled up. So the fire didn't have any oxygen. Essentially, it went out on its own.
And in here, got the bullet holes.
At this point, I'm knowing for certain that this is my crime scene. And going back to Matthew.
Around midnight, Elijah went outside.
He told me that when Elijah got into the car, he slid over and was sitting behind the front passenger. So now in my mind, that kind of is confirming to me this is probably where Elijah got shot.
Blood in the car is likely going to come back DNA-wise to Elijah. This is the murder car.
Did you find a book bag?
No.
We have the VIN?
The car appears to belong to a girl named Brianna Casey.
They found out that Brianna Casey had reported her vehicle stolen. And I'm not thinking that her car was truly stolen. Then she just happened to call the police.
That's convenient.
I'm thinking Brianna is a part of this crime, or she knows who did it.
Might want to give her a call.
Thanks.
Right now, Griff's got all kinds of things cooking.
Got a few questions for you.
She lived in Vidalia as well, and I found out where she lived, and then I reached out to her.
See you soon.
And I made that trip to go see her.
As Griff meets with Brianna on Christmas Eve, he's got Elijah's mother on his mind.
That motivates me because she lost a child, so it's not an option to not go on Christmas Eve. I don't have a choice, to be honest.
As I told you before, I'm working on a murder case.
And talking to Brianna, she looked petrified.
I think your car was involved.
It was.
She immediately tells us that the police report that she made about the stolen vehicle wasn't true.
It was all a lie.
You know at that point you're going to get to go where you need to go with this witness.
But I was scared.
You just got to push those right buttons. They want to tell you the truth, and you got to give them the pathway to do it.
Why were you afraid?
Because of the people who did it.
This is a bombshell moment. I mean, Brianna knows who took the car. This is huge for Griff.
You know who committed the murder?
She knew who shot and killed somebody in Atlanta.
Tell me all about it.
This woman is the key to unlocking of what really happened to Elijah.
As I told you earlier, I'm working on a murder case.
Detective Griffin is one step closer to solving the Elijah Wallace case.
I think your car was involved.
He travels down to Vidalia, Georgia, and tracks down the owner of the vehicle that he believes was involved in his murder.
It was all a lie.
During the interview, Brianna makes a shocking statement. The car was never stolen.
You know who committed the murder?
This is huge. Brianna folded like a card table. He's moving now.
Tell me all about it.
Look, you don't understand. He threatened to kill me.
She expressed that she was afraid for her life. And when we asked why she was afraid for her life, she gave us a little bit more details of who took her car.
Who had your car?
My boyfriend had my car and some guy named D.A.
Brianna told me that her boyfriend, Juan Foster, and his friend D.A. used her car and went to Atlanta.
Why'd they go to Atlanta?
I don't know, they said they had to make some money.
Now, that can mean a couple of different things. We're either going to hit a lick, we're going to make a drug transaction, but we're definitely not going anywhere to unload trucks or do some responsible work. This is going to be some ill-gotten gain.
Look, when they got back, it was bad.
When they came back, she had immediately noticed that it was like a bullet hole in her back passenger door.
Brianna goes on to tell Detective Griffin that she saw a bunch of blood, but more importantly, she saw a bunch of empty peroxide bottles.
Did they talk about the murder?
Only that it was D.A.
So what she told me specifically was that D.A. shot somebody in Atlanta and had to push him outside the car.
They tried to clean the car, but D.A. had a new plan.
That speaks to these guys trying to use peroxide to get rid of the blood in the car. That was their first go-to. When they realized that's not working, they decided they needed to burn the car.
He told me to report it stolen.
She said that she got afraid because D.A. asked her if she wanted to be around when her children grew up. Like, if you want to see your kids grow up, you better do this or else.
My boyfriend is afraid of him too. Supposedly, he killed somebody before.
She was under the impression that he knows how to get away with murder and that he would probably harm her if she cooperated with the police.
What's D.A.'s real name?
She just knew him as D.A. and that he had been like a friend or a family friend of her boyfriend, Juan.
This guy, D.A., is the devil. I mean, he gives his murder resume to Brianna, and then he asks her an open-ended question, do you want to see your kids grow up? I mean, he threatens to kill her if she doesn't follow the script. Dude is Satan.
Now it's time to go do some research on D.A. and her boyfriend, Juan.
Griff went back to his contact at the GBI and asked the agent if he was familiar with the nickname D.A. And the agent knew D.A. was a guy named Denzel Atkins.
The agent told Griff that D.A. was a suspect in multiple unsolved homicides. On top of that, he was acquitted of a murder very similar to Elijah's.
In that case, D.A. was supposed to meet somebody to conduct a drug transaction. Shortly after, that person was found shot and killed on the side of the road.
Griff felt like he had to get D.A. off the streets before he killed somebody else.
He pulled records for Denzel Atkins and Brianna's boyfriend, Juan Foster. He put their photos in a lineup in return for another meeting with Brianna Casey.
I want you to take a look at these lineups.
With those lineups, the goal is to have Brianna see if she can identify the person that she knows as DA. And that person, I believe, of course, was Denzel Atkins.
Point out if you see DA or Juan.
And then have her confirm who the person is that she's in a relationship with.
Yeah, it's DA.
You're sure?
Yeah.
She identified the person that she believed as DA. So ultimately it was Denzel Atkins.
That's Juan.
Okay.
And confirmed the identity of Juan, her boyfriend.
Right now, Griff's got all kinds of things cooking. He's got two viable suspects. This kid Juan Foster and Denzel Atkins, everybody knows as DA.
She picked out both guys.
After she identified them in the photo lineup, GBI got warrants for their arrest for arson.
I gotta get some paperwork started.
In addition to the arson warrant, Griff gets a murder warrant for Denzel Atkins.
He's got to start getting busy with trying to put somebody in jail.
Yeah, it's DA.
All the pieces in the Elijah Wallace case are coming together.
That's Juan.
Detective Griffin IDs Juan Foster and Denzel Atkins as the prime suspects.
I gotta get some paperwork started.
Now, all he needs to do is track them down. Griff ended up only putting a murder warrant out for Denzel Atkins. This was intentional because all signs turned to him to being the actual shooter.
As a homicide detective in this situation, you gotta choose wisely who you want to approach first. And typically, the non-shooter's the one you go after. The weak link. In this case, it was Juan.
He already had an outstanding warrant for the arson investigation, so that's how Griff could bring him in. He reached out to Juan's family for help.
Juan's mother told Griff that her son was afraid of DA. She also felt like DA was keeping close tabs on her son. So Griff told her it was important that he find Juan before DA does.
Juan Foster's family agreed to negotiate a surrender. Griff now has another family member participating in his investigation. It was absolutely phenomenal.
This is Detective Griffin.
I heard you were looking for me.
Out of nowhere, Juan Foster actually calls him on his cell phone. Boom! That's an explosion.
Let's meet.
It's time to set it up. You gotta cajole this kid over the phone to come see you down at your office.
You there?
Yeah.
When a suspect reaches out to law enforcement, he's coming along the way.
It's not a big deal.
He's reconciling the fact that at some point, he's got to sit down with this detective. That's the first step.
Just want to talk to you about a car we recovered.
I told him that I had questions about the arson investigation and that it was important that he turned himself in. He acknowledged that it was important.
I'm scared.
But he also brought to my attention that he was afraid. He says that DA was somebody that he was afraid of, and he just witnessed him do something that he had never seen before in his life. So I took it as he was also afraid, just like Brianna was.
Tell me where to find DA.
I don't know.
He pretty much told me that he was avoiding DA, didn't know where he was, and then I just told him that it was important that he turned himself in so we could talk.
I'll think about it and I'll call you back.
My experience is when you get a suspect on the phone and they make the actual contact with you and they say they're gonna call you back, that's not happening. Cold feet is an understatement in this situation. It's real tough for them to connect that next dot.
Griff couldn't get him to come in right then and there, but what he has to do is continue to work the family, continue to try to reach out to Juan to convince him to come in. Several weeks later, Griff receives a surprising call.
Juan, he called me again, and that he wanted to turn himself in. So contacted our fugitive unit, who's responsible for taking people into custody, and kind of help facilitate him turning himself in safely.
Juan Foster is taken into custody and brought to APD for questioning.
Detective Griffin now knows he's going to have an opportunity to sit across from the table of Juan Foster and get to the truth of things. It's an exciting time for Detective Griffin.
Did you want to talk to us today? I'll talk to you. Okay.
This is the moment he's been waiting for. He has an eyewitness that is going to put all of these pieces of the puzzle together and likely put the gun in DA's hand and tell exactly how this victim was killed.
He was very quiet, a little docile, a little shy. I didn't get the impression that he was capable of shooting and killing Elijah.
So we're gonna get to it.
You see a lot of things on TV. People do the good cop, bad cop. I don't really do that. And I just really have a conversation with people. And I'm very transparent.
I'm not here to judge you. I'm planning on wasting your time. I respect your time just like I'm hoping you respect my time.
He doesn't come at him hard. He comes at him soft. He comes at him as a human being.
Be completely honest and tell me the good, bad, and the ugly.
I wanted him to clearly understand that by not cooperating and not helping, somebody who killed somebody is still out there in the street.
I'll cooperate.
The first person up to the plate gets to bat the ball. So right now, Juan Foster's it.
So we're gonna get to it.
The Elijah Wallace homicide investigation appears to be coming to a close.
I really could use your help with something.
Detective Griffin has one of the suspects, Juan Foster, in custody.
Did you want to talk to us today? I'll talk to you. Okay.
Griff sits him down for an interview and he agrees to talk.
Time to get some answers.
I just came because he wanted to go to Atlanta.
He told me that DA was coming to Atlanta to make some money, and he asked if he wanted to ride with him.
I wasn't going to be a part of no murder, man.
From Juan's perspective, he was literally just riding with DA to pick up some money.
He just said that he needed some money. What do you mean? Did he come up here to buy me?
What it's looking like is Juan and DA were meeting up with Elijah to conduct some drug transaction and never really planned on paying for the weed.
Alright, so how y'all gonna get up here? My girlfriend car?
DA wants to take Juan's girlfriend's brand new Nissan Sentra.
Who drove in? He did.
When Juan, shows up to pick DA up, DA's like, nah, man, I'm driving. So right there, that just shows he's the heavy in this scenario. He's the control freak.
I don't know too many people that would allow somebody to drive their girlfriend's brand new vehicle. So when I tried to understand their relationship again, I just kind of got the impression that Juan would pretty much do whatever DA said.
He make a phone call or something like that, he on the phone.
DA was calling the person that they were supposed to meet.
Elijah was on the phone several times with somebody and mentioned Badaya. So at this point, Juan's talking about DA talking to the victim, Elijah, on the phone.
We had pulled up, the dude had got in the car.
And he said the young man opened up the rear passenger door and slid across the seat. So now he's sitting directly behind him. He said he doesn't know him, never seen him before.
Juan goes on to say that the person that got in the back seat of the car had a backpack. We know Elijah had a backpack.
It didn't stick out to me as being odd that a kid who's on a semester break from college would be transacting a weed deal. Doesn't mean he wasn't a good kid.
It just happened he connected with the wrong people. He's a good kid connecting with bad people with bad intent.
We rode around and heard them talking.
He said there was a weird exchange between DA and Elijah.
And according to Mr. Foster, he noticed that a gun magically appeared on the lap of DA.
He said this is the first time that he even realized that DA had a gun. He said that DA was kind of waving it in the air, kind of looked back at Elijah and made a comment like, "You like my gun? You like my gun?"
He's like, yeah, man, I got mine too. And he had showed DA his gun.
Our victim Elijah says, hey man, I like your gun. I got one too. Elijah may have been just doing roll call for firearms inside the car.
Typically, when there's two people having guns, that'll kind of cancel out any aggression they might have towards one another. But that's not what happened.
Juan goes on to say that DA turned around and fired several shots. He described the gun as having an extended clip and just unloaded into the victim.
He's in complete shock. He said he just can't believe what he just witnessed. His ears are ringing and he just closes his eyes in disbelief. And at that point, he tells me that DA starts to drive around.
A short distance later, DA pulls the car over, gets out, and actually manually pulls victim Elijah Wallace out of the car and dumps him there.
We had driven off, and then we realized some of the dude's stuff was still in the car.
Juan Foster goes into detail that they threw the victim's gun out the window, the victim's shoe out the window. DA made them take their shirts off, which was likely covered in the victim's blood, and throw those out of the window. The murder weapon itself is tossed out of the window.
We weren't too far from the area when we started throwing the stuff out.
The only thing that the police found when they got the car recovered was the shell casings and blood. So that makes sense. None of those items were ever recovered by law enforcement.
I was scared. I could have been killed myself.
According to Foster, the whole ride back to Vidalia was silence. You could hear a pin drop.
What do you say when you just witness somebody murder somebody? So when he says that he's afraid, I understand why he would have that perception, because again, he just witnessed somebody take somebody's life.
His life. Man, I burned the evidence.
Juan goes on to tell Griff about the plan to burn the vehicle, which lines up directly with what Brianna said. I mean, everything is coming to pure focus.
What happened to our red black book bag? I don't know if he threw that bag away or I don't know what he did with that bag.
Never found the book bag, never really was able to definitively confirm what was inside the book bag. But again, Juan believes that it was marijuana that was inside the book bag.
Telling you the truth.
I do believe what Juan told us is what happened. I do believe that. And I think the evidence supported that fact.
Juan is held on the arson warrant, but he's also charged with felony murder. Nearly 6 weeks later, March 2nd, 2016, the fugitive squad gets a tip that Denzel Atkins is actually hiding in an attic at a friend's home in Savannah, Georgia.
They bring him to homicide, and to no one's surprise, Denzel does not talk. Juan Foster ends up pleading guilty to his role in the crime. He's sentenced to 10 years in prison and 5 years probation.
In 2020, Denzel Atkins goes to trial.
Denzel Atkins was ultimately convicted on felony murder, possession of marijuana, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and robbery. He was sentenced to 2 life sentences, plus an additional 15 years.
My man Griff, I mean, you did a phenomenal job on this case, brother. I mean, you were straight dogging going after your evidence.
We have one black male with multiple gunshot wounds.
When I think back on this case that our protege was assigned in his first year in the unit, and he worked it like a seasoned 20-year vet.
You need to tell me the truth.
And then when you think about the family, I look at Elijah Wallace's mom.
I noticed these on the night that it happened.
This lady went through the worst tragedy, losing her son, and she had boots on the ground helping with the investigation.
Why were you afraid?
Because of the people who did it.
This case, while it was sad, it was beautiful the way it all came together. Down in Southwest Atlanta, I hit up Ben and we headed out to the scene.
On the way, we learned that our victim was transported to Grady and died from his injuries. This store is located in the shopping center on Cascade Avenue. This is the real beginning of Southwest Atlanta. We have a lot of connections to this neighborhood. We're hoping that's going to help us out going forward.
It's the wee hours of the morning, close to 3 o'clock by the time me and my partner roll up there. This is homecoming for a brother like me. I mean, I'm going back to my neighborhood, the first place I paid rent as a grown man. And now I'm here responding to someone's tragedy.
Sorry to wake you, fellas.
We don't sleep.
All right, let me give you the tour.
Let's go for it.
Our crime scene is a 24-hour supermarket.
Where was he hit?
3 to the torso, 1 hit an artery.
It's no surprise by the amount of blood that we saw that this victim died so quickly.
The victim was a 48-year-old Obayakar Amyamichi.
Obayakar. Okay. All right, so was he a customer or an employee?
He's a clerk.
Graveyard shift.
This is one of the most dangerous shifts to work any convenience store in any major city.
Robbery?
Probably. Shooting the guy 3 times seems extreme.
We found this.
Big gun.
So our sergeant goes on to say that there's a weapon that was found on scene. It's a .40 caliber Beretta.
Were any shell cases recovered? No. So maybe the killer picked up their own brass.
Maybe. I wonder if that belongs to the victim.
Could be. Found underneath him when we got here.
In this neighborhood, most clerks, they kept a tool close by, especially at closing time.
All right, so our killer either recovered their own shell casings or they used a revolver. Why was he on this side of the glass?
There's a glass enclosure that protects clerks, so why is the door open? Why is he not protected?
So it looks like he was cleaning up.
Actually, there's another guy mopping when this all went down.
An eyewitness?
Yeah, he's out in the squad car waiting to be questioned. I'll go get him. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
The Sarge brings this witness back inside the store, and he identifies himself as Simon Gardner.
Okay, so you saw the shooting?
Uh-huh.
Where were you?
Over here mopping.
Okay, so you caught a look at the guy?
Not really.
He says it was someone he'd never really seen before. He didn't know personally.
And I heard him say that he wanted to buy a 5X t-shirt.
One of them.
Sure.
And this is 2008. 5X tees were all the rage.
We kept the t-shirts behind the counter so no one would steal them.
The $5 bill is still sitting in the trough between the front of the counter and where the clerk was behind the glass.
Looks like he paid for his shirt.
This is unusual because it doesn't look like anything's missing, including the money that the killer left there. He actually deposited money instead of taking it.
All right, what happened next?
Obi couldn't fit the t-shirt in the slot, so he came out to hand it to the guy.
It looks like our shooter had done his homework.
This killer, in my opinion, had been in that store and cased this out before.
Guy just started shooting, unprovoked. Boom, boom, boom. Then he took off. I saw Obi on the floor and all that blood. I ran to get help.
Describe the shooter for us.
25, maybe 30, dark complexion, kind of tall, like 6 feet, but skinny.
You saw the gun?
Yeah, it was a revolver.
Now that matches up with the fact that we have no shell casings on scene.
And nickel-plated.
Did you get a look at his face?
Not really.
Simon says he didn't see this shooter's face, but how did he see this gun?
We got to take him at his word. Sometimes murder right in front of you causes citizens to, keep things close to the vest. We're going to pump the brakes on pressing the brother too hard at this point.
Here's my card. You hear anything, holler at me, okay?
What do we have here?
I don't know, man. They didn't take nothing except his brother's life.
There's nothing missing from our victim's pockets. The till is full of cash, and we're trying to figure out what this means.
Hit.
Maybe this isn't a robbery. Maybe this is personal.
Store owner's here.
Thanks.
While we're on scene, the actual owner of the store, a guy named Richard Musa, he shows up.
Hey, bro.
Thanks for coming down.
I feel horrible. Whoopi wasn't even supposed to work tonight.
So this wasn't his shit?
No. I called him in last minute. We got into another store.
He's feeling like the reason that this victim is dead now is because he had him come to work. We see cameras, and at this point, we're wondering, we may capture this entire homicide on tape.
So we're gonna need a copy of the security camera footage.
They don't work.
We have a big goose egg now when it comes to anything that we could have seen as far as what happened to this victim.
You guys have a gun on the property?
Yes, a .40 caliber Beretta. I gave it to Obi.
When he had Obiakur come in and relieve him at the store, he passed that .40 cal off to him for his own personal protection while protecting his store.
I told Obi to always have it. But we never actually been robbed before. This is just awful.
What can you tell us about Obi?
He's Nigerian, like me. He was my friend. Amara is devastated.
Amara?
His wife.
Because Richard Musa was so close to Obiakur Anyamichi, Richard disclosed to us that he actually called the wife while we were working our crime scene and he actually broke the news to her personally.
She doesn't have anyone to care for her now.
He said Obiakor was just in this country to take care of his wife, who was bedridden.
We're gonna get to work, all right? Now, in the meantime, if you hear about anything, you think of anything, you give us a holler. Thank you, man.
This is a tough one. No motives, no enemies.
Yeah, nothing but a brick wall. We got some work to do, baby. Look, I'm gonna tell CSI to dust the door for Prince, okay? The $5 bill, too.
We need to find out everything we can find out about Obiakor to see if anybody targeted this victim.
We decide on the very next day to actually go visit the wife of our victim, Mr. Anyamichi.
Ma'am, how you doing? With the detectives with APD.
Yes.
So sorry for your loss.
Thank you. This has all been so overwhelming.
This poor woman was at home alone in total renal failure. That Mr. Anyamichi, who she affectionately referred to as Obi, was her single and solitary caregiver. He took her to dialysis 5 days a week. And how would she get there now?
Obi was my everything.
Tell us about your husband.
He was a brilliant man.
She goes on to say that our victim, Obi Anyamichi, had 2 master's degrees in mathematics and economics and was a well-respected professor back in Nigeria.
Do you know anyone who would want to harm Obi?
No. My husband was well-liked by everybody.
So we're now scratching our heads. We know this isn't a robbery, and now it doesn't seem like it's a targeted attack. We got to figure this out right now.
But there was one time Obi was attacked in the store.
Really? Tell us everything.
We may have just found the missing key to our case. But finding the answers is a whole nother story.
Every turn was another dead end.
What kind of gun did the shooter have?
It's some type of revolver.
We lit that neighborhood up searching for clues. We'll have to fish out a few red herrings.
It wasn't me, but I know who did it.
This guy lied right to our faces.
Before an unexpected twist propels the case forward.
You mind if we get 5 minutes of your time?
This was a total blast from the past.
In the end...
And what'd he look like?
Like a teenager.
Every rumor starts with the truth.
Locking down the killer seems like mission impossible.
Where's your son?
I didn't bring him.
We were really worried we might have another homicide on our hands.
Done.
So this is where it went down?
We're investigating the murder of Obiakor Anyamichi, gunned down at a convenience store in southwest Atlanta.
So you saw the shooting?
Uh-huh.
An eyewitness walked us through the homicide.
Guy just started shooting.
And robbery doesn't seem to be the cause.
Now, do you know anyone who would want harm Obi?
No.
While speaking with Obi's wife...
But there was one time Obi was attacked in the store.
A potential motive comes to light.
Really?
We think these 2 crimes might be related.
Tell us everything.
Happened a couple months ago. He was attacked in the store. I don't know the details, but the police were called. Obi came home with a swollen face.
Did Obi say why he was hit?
I don't know. I think the guy just freaked out on him or something.
If the cops were called, then there's definitely a report.
Look, we're gonna do everything in our power to find out who did this, okay?
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
It's possible the person that assaulted Obiakor is our shooter.
We go back to the office and we're digging through records to see if we can find a police report for the assault of our victim.
All right, I got it.
Lo and behold, we find a police report from May 24, 2008, 2 months before our victim is killed at the same store.
So Obi caught a shoplifter and the man assaulted him.
Yeesh. Looks like he got roughed up pretty bad.
Yeah, maybe he came back to finish the job.
Our victim was shot 3 times. This is like overkill. And we know when we're looking at this assault report from 2 months before, he's beaten pretty badly. So there's rage involved there.
Let's see what happened.
Where's the officer on that?
We make moves to get in touch with the investigating officer.
Officer Bailey.
Hey, it's Quinn down in homicide.
And find out exactly what her investigation yielded.
And it's almost impossible to get fingerprints from money, but nothing. No door prints, no money prints. We got a big 0.
It was worth a shot.
So let's see where the leads take us.
Drop what you're doing, get over there and give them assistance. And in this case, it was an officer-involved shooting that just happened to be 1 block away from where Obi was murdered.
We headed right over there to offer our help in any way possible. When we roll up on this scene, we notice there is a person that is clearly unresponsive on the driveway of a home less than half a block from our original crime scene.
What's up, Pete? We have 2 officers on their way to the hospital. The suspect has been killed.
How'd it go down?
Units were responding to a suspicious activities call. They saw 2 guys out front here. As our boys exited the vehicle, everything went to hell.
Out of nowhere, one of the persons just starts firing at both officers. Hit one officer in the face, the other officer in the chest.
Yeah, both our guys got shot, but they returned fire. Killed this one.
Damn. What kind of gun did the shooter have?
It's some type of revolver.
We're like, bam! Isn't this starting to make sense?
Did you see the gun?
Yeah, it was a revolver and nickel-plated.
So we're thinking, could this person that was just killed in this driveway be our killer of our victim at the convenience store?
Okay, we got an ID on the deceased.
Yeah, it's Montellis Clark. He's 28 years old.
He matches our basic general description of the information provided by Simon. This may be our suspect.
You sounded more and more like our shooter, man.
Yep. Pete, could you let me know when the report is done?
Sure thing.
Thanks a lot, guys. All right, we need to link up with Simon again.
Yeah, you read my mind.
So we have to put Montellis Clark's photo in a 6-person lineup and find our eyewitness Simon from the convenience store and show it to him. We quickly connect with our eyewitness, Simon Gardner.
All right, thanks for your time, brother. Look, I got some photos I want to show you.
Sure.
See if you recognize Obi's killer.
We're just sitting there with bated breath, just watching this brother scan through these 6 photographs of people.
He's staring at this thing, and I'm like, damn.
And we're thinking, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen today.
Sounds like somebody unhinged.
All right. What are the odds, man?
We may have identified the killer of store clerk Obayekor Anyamichi.
Yeah, both our guys got shot, but they returned fire. Killed this one.
A man who opened fire on police and was shot dead.
What kind of gun did the shooter have?
It's some type of revolver.
We're thinking, could this person that was just killed in this driveway be our killer of our victim at the convenience store?
I got some photos I want to show you.
We want to see if Simon can confirm whether or not Montellis Clark is indeed our killer of Mr. Anyamichi. We may be closing our case today on the merits of this lineup.
He's not in here.
This was a situation where it looked like we had this thing wrapped up.
You positive about that?
Yeah.
2 incredible tragedies happened within 75 yards of each other, and they're not even related.
So maybe Montellis isn't our guy.
Thanks for helping us out.
You know, the other night I was going to tell you another possible witness.
About 5 minutes before the suspect came in and killed our victim that night, he remembers a woman named Trina.
Trina? Okay.
Simon also injects that this girl, Trina, she drives a fire-engined red Dodge Charger.
All right, so the car's a good start.
He has breathed life back into this case.
One more thing. Word is this guy, Anthony Hill, he knows who the killer is.
Anthony Hill.
Where's he hang?
Somewhere in the neighborhood.
Now we have 2 leads to chase, Anthony Hill and Trina. So we thank Simon for his help.
Thanks for your time, brother.
We see what we can dig up on these potential witnesses.
takes us no time to find Anthony Hill. Luckily, you know, this neighborhood has been the kind of place that the people just aren't hard to find.
Hey, man, we're with the APD. You got a minute?
Yeah. What's this about?
All right, so we hear you might know something about the shooting that happened at the store.
Yeah, I was out here when I heard those gunshots.
Anthony goes on to say he saw the shooters fire 2 more times into the store as he was running away.
When I hear something like that, where a shooter has actually shot someone inside of a store, he goes out, holds the door, and fires 2 more rounds while making his exit, that sounds personal.
Hey, what'd he look like?
Black male. You look young as well, like a teenager.
This description doesn't match what Simon told us.
Describe the shooter for us.
25, maybe 30.
These aren't the same person. So right now, we got a big goose egg of an investigation.
Hey, thank you, man. All right, be safe out here.
So me and Vin are out there grinding up the pavement in West End Atlanta trying to find out who killed Mr. Anyamichi. And then bam, out of nowhere, my cell phone lights up and there's a blocked number coming through.
Yeah, you got Quinn.
Yo, this is me.
This might be our shooter right here.
We had tips coming in saying that Meat actually was the killer, and now Meat's calling us?
All right, talk to me.
I heard my name is out there on this murder at Richard's store.
Yeah, I heard that too.
It wasn't me, but I know who did it.
This right here could be the turning point in our case.
I'm all ears. Talk to me.
It was this young boy named Twan,
At how young?
teenager.
This lines up exactly with what Anthony Hill told us earlier.
All right, you got a last name for Torrin?
Don't know, but sometimes he stays with his fam over on Beecher.
Yeah, that's where the store is, on Beecher. All right, you got an address on Beecher for Twan?
I'll get it.
Hello?
This is good.
Yeah, Twan. Yo, things are moving along, baby.
Yeah, but this throws shade at our witness, Simon.
But thinking back to Simon, his description is so far off from what Meat is saying, we didn't have a good feeling with him in the beginning anyway.
You think he's been lying this whole time?
Maybe. But I wonder why. Here we go. Yo, talk to me.
You got a pen?
Yeah, give me a second.
It's Meat, and he's got a 4-digit address on Beecher Street. He says it's where this boy Twan used to live.
All right, got it. All right, we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
This address makes sense.
It's literally less than 1,000 feet from our crime scene at the convenience store.
Let's move.
I mean, this is crazy. This is great information. We have lit this spark, and this sucker's burning.
We entered Twan's address into the database. We see the name Antoine Weems as someone associated with that residence. We're thinking Antoine, Twan, they gotta be the same person.
We did a little digging and found out Antoine Weems is 16 years old.
We want to talk to Antoine, but because he's a minor, we want to get consent from his parents first. As we were preparing to make that happen, we spotted Trina, who Simon told us may be a witness. So we decided to try to get an interview with Trina while we had a chance.
We see the car of this red Charger in the neighborhood. We roll up on it just to verify if this is our girl Trina from the store.
Hey, Trina?
Yeah?
You mind if we get 5 minutes of your time here, sister?
Sure.
Okay.
I turn on my mini audio recorder to capture this conversation with Trina.
All right, look, we're out here working this case. And that gentleman that was killed at Richard's store?
I heard about that.
What's the talk on the street?
Everybody keep talking about they don't know who did it.
What's the rumor you heard between me, you know?
That was just like one of the neighborhood guys did.
You get a name?
No.
You sure? Look, I'm from around here, all right? I know how these streets be talking.
You live here?
Yeah, right around the corner. Late 80s.
As me and Trina are talking and realize we actually know each other.
Oh, God, I'm going back. Crazy. She has been in my apartment.
That's my mom. That's my mom.
Oh, my God, it's a small world.
Once she knew the connection, that I was that cop for when she was a little girl, bam, she started giving it up.
Somebody stopped me and said, you heard that there was Twan that shot the man.
All right, so you said his name was Twan.
Yeah. That's just a rumor, though. That's just what I heard.
Thank you for your time, sis.
Appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
On the way back to the office, we speak with Antoine Weems's mother, Angela, who agrees to let us interview her son. Angela Weems is more than cooperative on the phone. She even said, I'll be in your office in an hour. When we arrive, Angela's already there.
Miss Williams.
That's right.
She's got a grimace on. I mean, she's got on a scowl. The biggest thing about this encounter is she's all alone. I'm looking all over the office. I don't see a 16-year-old in her tow.
Where's your son?
I didn't bring him.
Angela says her son Twan had absolutely nothing to do with the murder.
You won't be talking to him at all. I'll tell you everything you need to know.
We feel like something's up. If this young brother's innocent, then why can't she let him talk to her?
Talk to me.
It was this young boy named Twan.
The Obayakor Anyamichi homicide case is heating up. We've identified 16-year-old Antoine Weems as our prime suspect.
Where's your son?
I didn't bring him. You won't be talking to him at all.
Antoine's mother comes to the office, but refuses to cooperate.
I'll tell you everything you need to know.
We're getting roadblocked by Antoine's mom.
So you're making a statement?
No. I ain't making no statement.
Well then, ma'am, I guess our time here is done.
Y'all need to drop this right now. My son couldn't have done it.
Angela, with this scowl on, is now angry and snarling, talking about my son was with me, I'm his alibi.
And you're his alibi?
Yes, and I'm not the only one.
Have we been looking at the wrong suspect?
All right, where were you?
Out of town. We were at a party.
She said my son Antoine was 25 miles away, south of the city. He never left, and I had eyes on him up until the hours of 3 o'clock in the morning.
So I need the names and numbers of everyone that was at that party.
Here you go.
Our antennas are sticking straight out. Something's not right here.
I'm done.
This is just too convenient. Typically, an alibi is one person, maybe two. All of a sudden, Angela's got a slew of people.
Let's call everyone on that list. See what they got to say.
All the names that Angela Weems gave us were relatives, cousins, and aunts. There was not one independent witness or someone outside her family she said was going to be part of this investigation.
That's a no-go.
Yeah, me neither.
We call every one of them. Nobody answers the phone. So we leave voicemail messages hoping somebody call us back.
Let's get back to work.
So 3 days later, one guy named Jimmy Parker actually calls us and says he'll actually come in for an interview.
All right, man. Thanks for coming in, Jimmy.
No problem.
All right, so we understand that you were at a party with Angela and her son.
Mm-hmm.
And Twan stayed the whole night.
Yes.
He knows absolutely nothing about the murder, but backs up this alibi. We don't feel this guy. We turn the heat up a little bit.
Look at me. Are you willing to go to jail over this?
This brother Jimmy Parker was dressed like Carlton Banks. I mean, he wasn't no hood thug.
Right. It's cool. Let's just start from the beginning. So, tell us about the other night, bro.
I don't know anything about the murder. Just that Antoine disappeared.
Jimmy Parker goes on to say that Antoine was missing for a couple hours between midnight and 2 a.m. That fits perfectly in the timeline when we know our victim was shot and killed.
How do you know that?
Angela.
He says the way he found out Angela actually stormed into Antoine's room and asking him where did he go middle of the night.
She just went off on him. I could hear it from the other room.
So, in effect, Jimmy Parker is giving it up not only on Antoine, but giving it up on his cousin Angela.
All right, man. Thanks for your cooperation.
All right, so now we know Angela lied.
Exactly. Which means we're on to something. Yo, we should put a photo lineup in front of our witness, Simon.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him.
We got a 6-person lineup with Antoine's photo in it and showed it to our eyewitness, Simon Gardner. And he doesn't pick Twan. We were shocked.
Then we did a little digging and find out that Simon actually has ties to Angela Weems.
And that he does some kind of work for her. And at this point, we thought Simon was intentionally misleading us, but we just couldn't prove it.
Then the investigation began to stall. I mean, months went by. Then out of nowhere, a detective calls us and says he's got a person in custody from a robbery that may have information on our case. This could be the breakthrough we've been waiting for.
The suspect, Julius Lowe, is brought to homicide.
All right, brother. What do you got for us, man?
It's about the shooting at the grocery store. Saw a man see go in there.
When Julius Lowe drops the name a friend of his known as T, I'm thinking T Twan, we're on the right page.
All right, where were you?
Across the street. And all I heard was pow, pow, pow.
He hears gunfire, and T is running out the store. He can see this kid he knows as T actually holding a gun, pointing it back into the store.
He was robbing the joint, you know?
Julius Lowe goes on to say that even before the murder, weeks before, he heard T talking about planning to rob that convenience store.
What's T's real name? You don't know?
No.
Look, let's do something, okay? I want to show you a lineup, and you tell me which one of these is your boy, T.
Take your time.
And he's not saying anything. And we're starting to worry now.
Have we been looking at the wrong suspect? It's been 4 months since we started working the murder of Obiakor Anyamichi.
All right, brother. What do you got for us, man?
It's about the shooting at the grocery store.
But we finally seem to be breaking through.
Saw a man see go in there.
A recently arrested robbery suspect claims the person he knows as T is responsible for the murder of our victim.
Tell me which one of these is your boy, T.
We got Julius Lowe, someone that actually knows this kid. This is the moment of truth on a case that's dead in the water.
Ooh, what's up? What's up?
Look, none of them dudes look familiar, all right?
At this point, my heart just sunk.
Okay, so you didn't see T in this lineup?
No. No.
We see that he's fixated on the third photo, which just happens to be the photograph of Antoine Weems.
Hey, let me do something. Want to take a little break? Yeah? Want to step outside, grab some air?
Can I smoke?
Yeah? We'll hook you up, brother. Come on. All right, we'll leave this stuff here, get some air, reset the energy. You know what I mean?
If you're a reluctant witness, we want to make you feel like you're in the comfortable confines of your home and see if he can have a change of heart.
All right, over here. We can post up over here.
So we take Julius outside for some fresh air and a smoke.
Can you one?
As soon as we got outside and lit this brother's cigarette, he's in our ear like it's a secret.
Yo, it was, it's 3.
T is number 3?
Yeah.
This is a bam moment. This brother Julius just said T is the guy that's our shooter. We now know T is Antoine Weems.
All right, hey, why didn't you tell us before, man?
don't know. All right, come on.
He doesn't want to be a snitch, but he wants us to get the right person that did it. This is common, but we're going to take his ass back inside and have him say it again on camera.
Julius put us where we needed to be, and the only reason we got him is because he got locked up for a robbery. We got to consider a jury may not like that.
And we just kept grinding, trying to find something really solid tying him to this murder. Several folks told us about a really close friend to Antoine, a youngin' named Sean Jackson Jr.
Word on the street was that Antoine called him after the murder and confessed.
We pulled phone records and saw a dirty call from Twan's mother's house directly to Sean's house. It was time we had a talk with this young man.
We meet with Sean's father to see if we can get a blessing to speak with his son.
Hey, look, man. Your son might be mixed up in a real bad situation, man.
I don't want my son going down the wrong path.
He was looking out for his son's best interest.
Okay, so the suspect called your son after the murder.
Let's settle this. Junior, get down here.
He knows something's up, so he actually calls his son from inside the house.
Hey, Junior, get down here.
And tells him to come out and talk to us.
Sit down.
All right, young blood, check it out. Did Twan call you the night of the murder?
This is the linchpin of our investigation. Someone known to our suspect. We can't wait to see what he reveals.
You made the right choice.
So the suspect called your son after the murder.
The Obayakor Anyamichi case seems like it's about to pop.
Well, let's settle this. Junior, get down here.
A face-to-face with Antoine Weems' friend may provide the answers we need to close the case.
Sit down.
They grew up together, and now he's here having to make a decision that's going to affect the rest of Antoine's life.
Did Twan call you the night of the murder?
Yeah. Okay, look, he told me straight up. I think I killed a man. You gotta hold down the hood for me.
We know what that means. You tell somebody to hold the hood down for me. That means keep me informed if anybody brings my name up.
He said he was trying to rob him, but he saw he had a gun and panicked.
That's a third-party confession. We've connected this thing.
You made the right choice.
This little boy's gonna have to testify in open court, but this is the action that's giving our case gas. It's time to roll. On January 27, 2009, we obtained an arrest warrant charging Antoine Weems with felony murder and aggravated assault. 4 weeks later, he turns himself in. It took almost 8 months to tie this case together. While it's circumstantial, it's a thoughtful story that makes sense.
Antoine went to that convenience store with the intent on committing a robbery.
What do you need?
Sure.
He used the purchase of buying a 5X t-shirt as a way to get our victim, Obayakor Anyamichi, to come out from behind his protective enclosure. But when Obayakor comes out of the enclosure with a visible .40 caliber handgun, we think the kid snapped and just started shooting.
He freaked out. The victim never got a shot off. And at the end of the day, after the smoke cleared, Antoine left the store without taking any money, nothing of value, and in fact, left the $5 bill there.
This was a senseless murder on what we know now is a botched robbery.
Much to our dismay, a judge let Antoine out on bond, but with one condition. The kid's gotta wear an ankle monitor.
On August 17, 2009, as we're preparing for trial, we received word Antoine Weems cut off his ankle monitor and fled the area. While he was on the run, Antoine tried to rob his sister's friend.
He ended up shooting this woman in the neck and beating her 1-year-old child. This level of brutality is unbelievable. This should never have happened, but the justice system does not always work like you think it should. The next day, Antoine Weems is arrested once again for shooting this woman and beating this baby, but this time, Antoine gets no bond.
In 2010, Antoine Weems finally goes to trial. He is convicted and sentenced to life plus 5 years.
2 months after the guilty verdict on the homicide, Antoine Weems pleads guilty to shooting the woman and beating the child. He gets an additional 75 years.
The victim was a 48-year-old Obayakara Mimichi.
When I think about this case, for me, it's a sad story of someone chasing the American dream.
Obi was my everything.
My heart just still, to this day, feels for the wife of Obayakara Onyemichi left behind. She lost her entire family that day.
Y'all need to